So this is another instance of me analyzing some more Trini recordings to try and see if Trini is actually tier 1. So hopefully we get some high level discourse, especially since he's debating another person who's supposed to be tier 3 or tier 2 according to wide consensus. But yeah, let's go.
Okay. I mean, if you thought my claim was it's okay in every case, then I mean, I wouldn't really hold that point. Not in earnest, at least.
Wait, so, hold on, I have my microphone for this. So, wait, what is your claim specifically then?
I think it's fine in some cases.
What cases do you think it's okay?
If you, depending on how you define things, you could count the morning after pill as one ounce, that's the case where I'd be okay with it.
You count the pills and abortion? That's not people.
I said if you do. I mean, I don't know what you specifically meant. So I'm putting that out there.
So when we're in like even the first gestation period, like would you say that's acceptable?
Well, like first trimester?
Yeah.
Very high level stuff here.
Maybe? I don't remember the exact chart showing how what develops in the first trimester.
Okay, because I heard an interesting analogy a little while ago. So I didn't hear what your opinion on this is. Okay, so if abortion is okay, right? Let's just draw a parallel. When you have sex, you at least have a very significant understanding. You're probably going to be risking pregnancy.
No.
Not saying you're consenting to pregnancy, but you understand it's a significant risk, right?
I mean, yeah, if you don't use a condom, yeah. Sex makes babies.
No, even if you use a condom. Even if you use a condom.
Wait, no, that's just an empirical claim. And actually, I've looked into the empirics a little bit more. And it just shows us that most of the pregnancies or most of the times in which somebody has unprotected sex, that not only does the egg, maybe in some cases it just doesn't fertilize, but also even when it does fertilize, it just doesn't turn into an actual baby, right? Like, I'm pretty sure there's loads of empirical work about it. Maybe I can search it up as the video progresses. But again, it's just the typical you are acknowledging the risk, therefore you should be held accountable for that argument. Hopefully it's not like it's a bad one, or it's not like it's a very, very good one. I'd probably expect somebody who's supposed to be tier 1 to be making a little bit of a better argument than that, but again, it's Demi. He doesn't really need to put in that much brain effort to actually beat him. But yeah,
You know, this risk. Yeah, like it's still like 1 in 100. I mean, it's still there.
Yeah.
You understand that it's pretty significant. Yeah, so you understand these things. Similarly, so if someone takes you on a plane ride, okay? Someone takes you on a plane ride, and you're taking it that when they take you on the plane ride, they're not going to just kick you off the plane, right? They can't just revoke your survival partway through. Wouldn't it stand to reason that with abortion, similarly so, you can't just revoke the fetus's ability to live partway through?
well, one, no, like, I mean, the obvious response to that is, well, no, if it's like a non-sentient agent, then I don't understand why I suddenly have some obligation not to revoke its sentience midway through. So like in the plane analogy, or you just say that the relevant distinction that would just be one of them is sentient, you're affecting a sentient creature. Generally, it seems as if, right, your own personal desires to kick this person off a plane seem to have less value than the lives of a sentient creature. But if this creature is just not sentient and it's just akin to a biological rock, right, then obviously it wouldn't, at least under that view, obviously it wouldn't, have any sort of, it wouldn't have the same sort of moral implications, I should say. But yeah.
So, big question is, so this analogy, just to make sure that I'm not too high to understand this, comparing a full-grown adult that's getting on the plane to like first trimester fetus. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so why do we extend that to fetuses? Why would we extend like not personhood? Why would we extend moral consideration to them?
Because your survival is equivalently dependent.
Wait, just because your survival is dependent on another entity doesn't suddenly mean that you now have some obligation to allow this being to survive. So say cancer cells are also dependent on other people, on people, for example, or viruses or parasites. They're dependent on other people to survive. However, we don't suddenly have a moral obligation to keep these parasites on our hands. Or say washing your hands, they kill 99.9% of bacteria which are on your hands, and the bacteria, they rely on your hands for actually they rely on your hands specifically to be able to survive, right? It's maybe they're in the dead skin on your hand, who knows, right? So it's like, obviously, just because you're a living creature and your survival depends on something else doesn't ground any moral obligation there, right?
And if your survival is equivalently dependent, in the case of someone committing an abortion, you're saying that it's okay to terminate that person whose survival is dependent on you. So similarly, in the case of someone taking a person on a plane ride, they could kick that person off in spite of their survival being dependent on that person.
Yeah, so it seems though there's a bit of this analogy between a fetus and a full-grown person. Because I assume you would extend moral consideration to, like, your cousin or your sister.
What?
Full-grown adult. And so, but then say a fetus in the first trimester, quite literally in terms of what it can do, it's essentially your pancreas, but it grows. Right,
wait, so what are you saying is the distinction?
I'm not sure that I would necessarily apply moral consideration towards at certain points of its development into clump cells.
Okay, he's just making the sentience distinction that I just brought up. Like, yeah, one of them sentient, the other one isn't sentient. He could probably bring up a few analogies to make the sort of argument he's giving, at least on Demi's part. He could give like some analogies to make the sort of point he's giving like more intuitive, right? Or not, well, not per se more intuitive, but it could make it easier to understand, which may trigger people's intuitions more, right? But the response he's giving right now is fine. Like, I don't see the issue with that.
So, you know that it seems like fetuses develop sentience at around 8 weeks. They have the necessary structures, and so we go off of this thing called the precautionary principle, which states that if something has the structures, even if we don't have other indicative evidence of their sentience, because of the necessary precautions we take in trying to preserve sentient life, based on the presence of those structures, we're going to take it that this thing is sentient. So,
well, like, you can grant that for all cases, or at least most cases, in which a fetus does have the, let's say, structures that are needed for sentience. Out of precaution, we could say it's immoral to abort it, right, because it might be a sentient agent. But obviously, throughout all stages of development, fetuses do not have the necessary structures provided. So it seems as if what Trini is doing is he's implicitly conceding to the fact that for all cases in which fetus does not have the necessary structures needed for sentience, then it is okay to abort it, which could also just, like, it aligns perfectly with Demi's argument, right? Like, Demi could also just argue, or at least Trini's argument seems to be going from a more pro-life one to just a more pro-sentience one, seeing as he's specifying the sorts of situations that are needed for this thing to have moral value, which would specifically be if it had the sort of the structures needed, huh? But yeah.
What do you?
8 weeks they have these structures as a subjective experience.
Has a subjective experience.
Yeah. They have pain capacities. Yeah, they have structures that deliver them pain really early on, like at 8 weeks.
Not necessarily sure if sentience alone is enough to grant something moral consideration.
Okay,
No, wait. Okay, hold the phone. It's like, look, just because something can feel pain trivially doesn't mean it has more value. Like, obviously, if I give you a hypothetical where a parasite that relies on your body to live could feel pain, right, and that was the only emotion it could feel if you were to try and get rid of it, and like, if it isn't feeling pain, it literally can't feel anything else, for example, right, and it's relying on your body to live, you obviously don't want it there, and there might be negative detriments of it being there, as there is for like many pregnancies. And it's like, okay, well, obviously, just because it can feel pain doesn't mean I'm now morally obligated to allow this thing to keep using my body, right? Like, I don't need to have it on my body at all times. It's just a parasite, right? Like,
Alright, fuck it. I'm gonna try this. Let's see how you
Also, why did Demi like agree that sentience wasn't all that's needed? Like, well, why? He didn't even need to accept that. All he needed to do was just point out the fact that he's not only Trini implicitly conceding to him also pro circumstance view, but also additionally to the concession, implicit concession. I doubt Demi will actually point this out, but additionally to that, it just seems as if like he could also have just pressed him on the fact that like sentient or being able to feel pain isn't a necessary or sufficient condition needed for something to have more value. Like there are two things he could have pressed him on there. Hopefully he does. I don't know if he will.
After it's already drawn breath, I'm gonna go with acidic Jew on this.
So after it's drawn a breath?
Yeah. It's the only time you really care.
So if you're holding your breath,
what is he talking about? So like if there's a baby which comes out of somebody's womb and it has its mouth sealed by sellotape as it's coming out of the womb, and even though it's completely sentient, it's just there, and like before it's able to get the sellotape off its mouth, would it now suddenly be morally justified for me to unalive, or well, not unalive, to kill this fetus? And it's like, well, obviously not, right? Or kill this baby, I should say. It's like, well, obviously not, right? Just being able to breathe and having sentience doesn't grant you moral value. Like what? That was
you're not sentient.
It's already held the breath before, like after it's already drawn its first breath, after it's already been out.
So just to be clear, so let's say we go back in time, right? Let's say we time travel back to when Demi hadn't taken a breath, right? And I just punched her mom in the stomach because you hadn't taken a breath yet.
I mean,
what is that reduced to? Like, well, obviously it's morally wrong, right? But it'd just be morally wrong insofar as your mother like morally values you, and then because obviously she wants to have you, right? And since she morally values you, then suddenly it would not be okay for me to infringe on something that somebody else morally values. It's like, well, if this thing Demi in this case should have instrumental value insofar as he has value, as long like insofar as the mother wants to have him, right? But if the mother doesn't want to have him, then like it wouldn't be anything wrong that's happening there under Demi's view, at least. But yeah,
shouldn't punch my mom in the stomach. I don't know if that's morally acceptable. I don't think just punching someone.
Okay, say she doesn't care. Say she doesn't care. Say she doesn't care.
Yeah. If she doesn't care, if she doesn't care, then under Demi's view, you aren't doing anything wrong there, because he literally has no moral value. Like, okay, look, Demi's like his view is stupid, right? It's unintuitive as well. But the reductio Trini is giving isn't even a proper reductio, because it's like, okay, well, obviously, right, like he could have given so many other ones, take like sentient beings, but if it's just a non-sentient being which hasn't drawn his first breath yet, then trivially it wouldn't be wrong, right? Like,
you punch me?
Yes, because he can punch me in the pregnant stomach.
Then I mean, you spawned.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand what these reductios are. It's really embarrassing.
Killed you before he spawned him.
Okay, that's okay in spite of you being alive later on.
Yeah, I told you I'm just gonna use the acidic Jew type of.
Okay, so
why is he laughing? His argument is stupid.
I can just do that to you and the rest of your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So you think that's okay? Okay, that's just what I'm wondering. So if I can do that to the rest of you and your family, you know that means that I can stop you from ever making an argument, right?
Yeah, you can say thank you. That's your point.
Wait, so then you agree, right, that your position allows me to stop you from making an argument? Mine doesn't. Yours does.
Okay, wait. Like, what? Okay, like, yeah, okay. Under his view, if there's a time travel machine, like, and nobody cared about you in the past, like, he could stop you from making an argument. Why does that matter? Like, you're having a debate about ethics. Why does that matter? Like, what? What's that regard to?
So hold on. Well, okay, it's theoretically possible. It's definitely theoretically possible. Yeah.
Theoretically possible.
Why?
Why is it theoretically possible?
Yeah.
In virtue of the fact that it's not theoretically impossible.
Okay, so why is it not theoretically impossible?
Do you disagree with that, or are you just agnostic?
I'll give you my stance out there. I'm just curious, like, why is it
Just
not
intuitively, it's theoretically possible.
Just intuitively, I don't
Theoretical
really care if it's just an intuitive thing. I don't really care.
Okay,
What is he talking about? Like, wait, why are they talking about theoretical possibility? Like, I'm so confused. You could say it's logically possible, right? Like, then it'd be fine. But, like, it just seems like they're just throwing jargon around. Why is he talking about, like, theoretical possibility? Like, what, is that some weird modality that Trini came up with in the middle of the conversation? Like, what's going on?
You don't care about intuitions?
I don't think that that's justification. I don't think it's knowledge. I don't think it's just knowledge.
So you don't, just to be clear, so you don't think intuitions are justification?
I don't think, not in this case, no.
Intuitions, like some of the time, they do not serve as adequate justification for your moral claims, right? Like, obviously, take people in the 1960s, they had intuitions of like slavery being morally justified, right? But trivially, it isn't morally justified. However, you could say that upon, like, if you reflect upon the sort of intuitions you have and see whether or not they're consistent as well, but also if you were to be in the sort of situation, right, that you're talking about, would you like say it's fine for it to happen to you? So take an example of like people during slavery times, right? Like probably if we asked them, yo, if you were black, do you think it would be fine if I like hung you, right? They'd say no, right? So again, upon rational reflection, it doesn't seem as if that those sorts of intuitions hold up. But generally, I can grant that most people's intuitions, they don't think very hard about them, right? So to say that they serve as adequate justification is just completely false. At least in all cases. Maybe in some cases.
Okay. So when I'm asking you about your abortion position, did you lay out something non-intuitive about your justification? Or you just assume
Wait, what?
your position?
Wait, what is he talking about? Like, Demi laid out his position and said, I morally value this, that, and the third. So, can you give me an inconsistency or reductio with my value system? And this Trini is asking him something like, well, I'm pretty sure specifically what he's asking him is something like, like, did you lay out something that isn't grounded in your intuitions? And it's like, okay, well, he could have intuitions against the sort of view that he holds, right? Or the sort of view that he's arguing for, and he can still hold the view, right? Like, that isn't impossible to do. He isn't assuming anything because specifically he isn't claiming anything. Aside from he's just claiming that he values this thing. And claiming you value something isn't grounded in your intuitions. You can say it's just grounded in some emotional state you have or some like mental state you have. It isn't generally grounded in like just your intuitions. I don't know what Trini is getting at here. Like, it seems like he's trying to go for some knowledge cliff and it isn't working and it looks really embarrassing. I'm never gonna lie.
What's this weird pivot towards this? The case that I said, I don't
Well, I'm just checking your consistency. You're saying intuition is better. I'm asking you, did it matter in this case?
No, I said in this case. I said that verbatim. I said it, well, in this case.
You didn't say that.
You said, do you think
you said intuition is a justification.
And then I said,
Wait, okay. We'll go back. Give me a second.
I don't think that that's justification. I don't think it's knowledge. I don't think it's just knowledge.
So you don't, just to be clear, so you don't think intuitions are justification?
I don't think, not in this case, no.
Yeah, he did say no in this case. What is he talking about? This is gaslight level 3, bro.
Empirical case.
Well, then,
It's not empirical.
so then how else would we know something?
Totality is not making any assertion whatsoever. So
Seems like an odd question. I mean, maybe.
Wait a minute. I think I
that
skipped
is
it.
what you said. So what do you think about this case then? You think intuition counts here?
I don't know what relevance this has. Where's this leading?
No, I'm just asking you. Wait, hold on.
Oh, you can just ask, but I mean, just asking and the question not being relevant, those things aren't mutually exclusive.
Okay, why is it not relevant?
Of this?
Why is
Well,
it
I know
not
I
relevant?
asked you what's the relevance of this. Like, where's
So you just said it's not relevant.
No, he didn't.
so
Wait,
ask me-
what? He didn't. This is tracking. Oh my god! Like, this is really bad tracking. Right? Like Demi isn't even asking him Demi is even asking, or he's even affirming anything. He didn't say specifically, oh, this is irrelevant, or this is like a non sequitur, right? Like, Demi didn't even say that. Trini is just like, I think it's the same sort of Archimedes type strategy. Like, he's just trying to gaslight the other person into thinking they said something that they didn't. And then immediately you check the recording. If the person doesn't fold immediately and you check the recording, it looks really embarrassing now. Because now you've put up a whole front just for you to not look good as well. But hopefully Demi doesn't fold to this, like, because he's actually winning. I'm never gonna lie, like, his standard is unintuitive, but Trini hasn't explained why.
So wait, you're saying it is relevant?
I never made that specific claim. I just said that twice. I never made the specific claim. It's not relevant.
Do you think it's relevant, or do you think it's not?
Relevance of this?
Do you not think it's relevant?
I mean, it just seems like an odd question. I mean, maybe I'm just too high.
That's not answering the question. Okay, that's a dodge. That's dodge number one. Is it relevant or no?
I don't know. That's why I asked you. What's the relevance of this?
Okay, so you don't know if it's relevant. So why'd you say that you're not sure if it's relevant?
Because he doesn't know. What? He's not sure if it's relevant because he doesn't. Wow, it's like, if I don't know if apples are better than oranges, if somebody says apples are better, I'm obviously going to be like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like, what? What's he talking about?
If I don't know that it's relevant, and I tell you I don't know why it's relevant, then...
But it seems like you're disagreeing. Just to be clear, you're not disagreeing, are you?
Hold on, not disagreeing that it's relevant?
Yeah.
Not agreeing either. I'm asking, like, why is this question
so so then you're not making any assertion whatsoever. So anyways, I'm going to go back to my question.
So I asked, why is this?
I was going to go back to my question if you don't have a problem with it. Well, if you don't have a problem, I don't see why you'd object.
Wait, no. Specifically, oh my god, this is really low level. Like, okay, maybe Trini, like, okay, I don't even know if Trini is trolling. He sounds super serious. But look, it's like, if I make a claim, and then somebody's like, I don't know, I'm not sure, or he just like affirms that he's agnostic, that is directly him saying that he has a problem with you saying that this claim is true because he isn't convinced of it. There's no evidence of it, right? So because there's no evidence of it, the issue is you're claiming something which he doesn't think that there's evidence for or against, right? So again, clearly he does think that there's a problem with that, right? And even if he didn't think there's a problem with that, he also doesn't think there's a problem with the negation either. Hence why he's asking, or hence why he's not sure, and he's asking you, like, well, why should he accept the specific claim that Trini is making, right? Like, oh my goodness. If Demi actually wins this, I'm going to be so sad, because Demi's really stupid. And he lost to Draco. So is this like Draco upscale, maybe? Like, come on, Draco. That's my go right there.
Okay, so like the reason I'm asking, because I'm confused as to whether or not it is relevant, is because when I said no, I don't think it is intuition's justification in this case. Speaking of cases, an empirical one, talking about whether or not it's possible. We would examine that through
it's not an empirical case.
Well, then,
it's not an empirical
so then how else would we know something?
Modality is not constrained to the physical.
Okay, so this modality. So if we're trying to talk about the modality,
we're not talking about no logical possibility. That's not what I said.
That's all. I never said that.
Yeah. He isn't talking about nomological possibility. He also isn't talking about logical possibility because he said theoretical possibility, and the grounding he gave for something being theoretically possible was if it aligned with our intuitions, which are generally based off of past experiences. I don't know what Trini is talking about. If he like hedges and says, the whole time he was referring to logical possibility, that's just really embarrassing. Like, okay, but we proceed. Wait, people think Demi is getting slapped around. I don't know how people come up with that.
Well, if you're talking about that, then how could we talk about if we could do something in our own world if it's not at least backed by some type of empirical understanding?
Huh?
I'm saying that's just the thesis of rationalism. That's just the thesis of rationalism. But I need to literally put oranges in front of you to say 2 oranges plus 2 oranges equals 4. Like, no.
What?
No.
Wait. Do you, okay, why did I skip so far ahead? Wait a minute. Let me go back to where he was like on his DMs. It's like, he was saying some really stupid stuff like, do any of these two realize that fetuses breathe? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Explicit. So wait, that's just what we talk about is possible within.
It doesn't matter. Oh my god.
For you to say 2 oranges plus 2 oranges equals 4. Like, no,
never made that claim, huh?
So then we don't need a purely empirical.
Well, I think, and I hope this is what Demi is arguing. Maybe he isn't, but I think the sort of argument that Demi is making here is why he should entertain possibilities if they can't obtain in the real world. If like, and can't there just means like it violates some physical law. It violates like our observation, or it seems to go against our observations of the physical world, right? Like
empirical understanding.
I never said a purely empirical understanding. Did you not hear what I said?
Okay, what you said.
Damn, Trini's going. How do people think Trini's winning this?
Was this is an empirical question. We're talking about possibility.
Well, I mean,
specifically theoretical possibility.
Something is possible within our own universe. Would it not be? Again, the question is, would it not have to be informed or backed in some way by some type of?
But that's not relevant. You said it's an empirical question. I'm saying it's not. So that's just
as to whether or not something is possible within our reality. I mean, unless you're just using it totally.
Yes.
Yeah, he's asking if it's logically possible within his own reality. Oh no, he's asking if it's like nomologically possible within his own reality. And the answer would be, I'm assuming, would be no, right? Or at least the answer is like open. Maybe Trini can give an answer or not. If the answer is like yes, it is possible within our reality, that would mean that there's no law like there's no sort of law of physics that violates. If the answer is no, that isn't possible under like his own reality, then there's no good reason for him to entertain it under Demi's view, right? Because what's the point of me like basing your sort of moral claims and your moral decisions off of applying your standards to situations that will never obtain, right? Ought implies can, type shit. So if all implies, I mean, well, the whole reason I'm thinking of all implies can here is because of a conversation I had with Bunk. But the whole thing I'm trying to get at here is just quite literally, I think the sort of argument Demi is trying to get at here is, oh well, why should I base moral odds off of situations that I should never obtain, or why should I entertain the sort of odds that I should have, or why should I base the sort of odds that I should have off of like situations that I never obtain? And the answer is you shouldn't, right? Like, you shouldn't. But again, the sort of claim Demi would also have to be making here is that it's in violation of some law of physics, right? And if Trini just asks him what law of physics, like the analogy he's about to give violates, Demi won't answer because he doesn't know. So again, Demi is doing better than like I thought he would, right? And he's probably beating Trini, but yeah.
Do you think that it's impossible for something to be non-physical? Do you really believe that?
Huh? What? No, clearly it isn't impossible for something to be non-physical, like under any modality.
Did anyone ever make that claim? What do you ought about?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, do you think that? I'm asking, do you think that?
And what role does this have towards abortion?
Because you said it's...
Don't listen to this guy. This guy's really stupid. Don't listen to him.
It's an empirical question, right? That was the discussion you made. You said, no. You said it's an empirical question. I'm explaining to you why it's not. Now you're saying, well, actually, everything is informed by the physical world. So I'm asking you, is there no such thing as a potential non-physical thing?
So that was a strong man.
That has nothing.
What did you say? What did you say?
Specifically, if we're talking about whether or not something like time travel is possible, but would it not have
to be? That's not what we're talking about. I said, you said that this is an empirical question. Was that not what you said verbatim?
It encompasses empiricism. I mean, would it not?
No, that's not what an empirical question is. An empirical question means the question is about the physical world. Right?
And so if we're talking about you going back in time to, say, punch a pregnant woman, is there no...
But that's not... Hold on. So we're talking about possibility because you asked, is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay, so modality of the theoretical kind is not constrained by physicality.
Oh, what is he talking about?
So then, essentially, it sounds like what you're talking about is something is possible.
I'm just saying the things you said.
Wait, hold on, let me finish, man. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just waiting. Hold on, go ahead.
You were talking, I was talking. So it's...
You're talking now, just go ahead.
Okay. You done?
Oh my god, hurry.
Okay, that's probably a latency thing then. So the question that I was trying to ask you multiple times is, like, what
These two are actually good. What is he talking about? What is he talking about, bro? These two, no. I'd expect this from Smoothie and Official. What is he talking about? These two are actually good. Why is this guy bringing up theoretical possibility? Like, what is he talking about? Wait. Okay, let me be completely certain, right? Let me search up something. Theoretical possibility. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Hopefully he proves me wrong. Then once I get cleft, I'll never be able to show my face again. Interpretations of probability, abilities, practical reason, possible objects, logic and probability. Theoretical possibility. On the SCP, I'll summarize the relevant information. Okay. Cheers, mate. I was reading the summarization. In the SCP, possible objects are theoretical possibilities. With the counterpart theory, every possible object is confined to one possible world, which means that theoretical possibility is confined to the existence of possible worlds, which are abstract entities. Okay, I know that. In the SCP entries of interpretation, theoretical possibility is mentioned in the context of modal logic, the classical interpretation of probability, championed by assigns probabilities in the absence of evidence or in the presence of symmetrically balanced evidence. The interpretation lies on the idea of equally probable cases, which is a notion related to theoretical probability. This has nothing to do with the argument Trini is making. No! How the concept is implied in various entries. It's closely tied to the idea of possible worlds, modal logic, and the classical interpretation. Blah blah blah. If he's using theoretical possibility and logical possibility interchangeably, then I'd understand the claim he's making, but he isn't.
You're saying it's completely this. Hold on, I don't fucking study this shit. How the fuck am I supposed to
Yeah, don't worry. Neither of you study. It's fine. I mean, neither of you study.
See, now he's appealing to not studying versus just saying I was wrong about that. That's so dishonest.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Both of you don't study.
So with your whatever system of modality you're using, I don't fucking know.
I think Trini is winning. Demi is struggling right now. This guy's an idiot. Oh my god.
Whatever system you're using, you're saying it was completely disconnected from anything physical. So then my question is, how, in any way, like, why does that necessarily mean that
because
in your system, if it's possible, then it means it's possible in our reality?
Because I gave you a hypothetical, okay? I gave you the hypothetical of time traveling and how it would affect your position. But you were saying you're not sure if that hypothetical is possible. So then we got into possibility.
Oh my god, if they're talking, oh my god, I thought he was about to make a different hypothetical. If they're talking about the same hypothetical from the start, he already used a reductio. Trini didn't even phrase it as a reductio and defeats to his view. All he says is that, oh yeah, well, under your view, if your view is correct, then I should be able to, I am perfectly morally able to stop you from ever having this debate. I'm just like, okay, well, that's cool. That isn't a reductio. Not having the debate isn't immoral, right? Like, what is he talking about?
Theoretically possible, in which case you said, is it? And I said yes, and I explained why I think it is. And then you were saying, well, I'm not sure about that. I don't know. And then I started explaining myself further. And the reason we're at where we're at now is because I'm saying to you, because you said that this is an empirical question, that theoretical possibility is not confined to the possibility of the physical world. Right? So it's not an empirical question.
Then I guess misunderstood what you meant by theoretical possibility then, because whenever I hear theoretical possibility, usually I'm talking about things in science. If we're talking about
nobody cares. I'm skipping forward.
Not an intentional problem.
Yeah, so that my definition of it is wrong. What to do? And yeah, my bad. Didn't mean to. Like,
here's this guy just strawman fallacies now.
No way.
Guy's so fucking dishonest, man.
What a spurred. Okay.
So you hear how dishonest this guy is? You guys hear this, bro? How fucking dishonest Demi is, bro.
Yeah, so anyways, so regardless of even if I were to just like say, yeah, sure, it's possible. Even if I were to say, yeah, it's possible that you could theoretically go back in time and stop you from making a claim. Theoretically do with you. Theoretically do with you. So how does this change?
Well, that's the implication of your position, not mine.
Okay.
I think that's okay. You think it's okay. You think it's okay to silence you.
Okay. What? Yes. Okay. Sure. under Demi's view, it is morally justified, or like it's not morally unjustified for you to stop the debate from ever happening. It wouldn't be silencing him because there'd be no him to silence, right? But who cares? Like, okay, he's silencing you. What now? Why is that a bad thing? Stopping people from becoming sentient in the first place isn't a bad thing under Demi's view. So why? Like what? This is so low level, man.
Okay, so I can go back in time and stop Discord from being made. So then this debate.
Yeah, that's the implication of your position. So you literally believe in silencing your arguments.
So how is that? Hold on. So how is that? How is that?
In your argumentation ethics?
No. How is that impossible in your framework? That's what I asked.
Because my framework believes in protecting sentient life.
Uh-huh.
How would you punch me as a baby if I'm sentient?
No,
What? What? Oh my god, what is he talking about, bro? Like, okay, one, I don't know why he brought up argumentation ethics. Two, just because he holds the view that he's morally justified in stopping you from ever having the debate in the first place, right? Or like by virtue of stopping you from ever becoming sentient, that doesn't suddenly mean that he thinks it's okay for him to punch you as a baby, because obviously baby has completely different connotations as it has completely different connotations as something as like a fetus does, especially if it's in an abortion case. Typically people refer to things as like fetuses if it's if it's basically just a baby that they want to abort, that they don't particularly want it to have, or if they're talking about in the scientific context, right? But if they're talking about a baby, it's like, oh my god, my baby. It's like clearly something they want, right? Like it's some intention, like they're trying to display, so they have some intention towards like having this thing. But it's like, I don't get the sort of point Trini is making here. Like, okay, he thinks it's morally justified to stop you from ever becoming sentient. Like, okay, and?
Because when you said, well, no, it doesn't, and then I dropped that. Maybe I should have been more explicit with that. But so I said I could go back in time and stop Discord from being made. Does that necessarily not protect sentience?
Yeah.
How?
Does it necessarily not protect sentience?
Some people live off of Discord. You're killing sentient life. You see this fucking community?
What? Oh my god. Okay. So, oh my god. So look, it's like maybe you'd be doing something immoral if you stopped Discord from ever being made, if and only if there were sentient agents which are going to come into existence and then be reliant upon Discord, and you also have that knowledge beforehand. But in the punching a baby in the stomach case, it's like, well, there's no real sentient agent that you are affecting if you were to punch baby Demi in the stomach, right, and stop him from ever existing. There's no sentient agent being affected there, right? You're like, you can still hold the view that you want to protect sentient life while also holding the view that there's nothing immoral about that, because there's nothing that you value that is being harmed there, right? The sort of argument Trini is making is basically saying that, oh yeah, it's immoral for you to do basically anything, because who knows, in some distant point in the future there might be some people who are reliant on this action that you like have chosen not to do, right, who will die if you didn't do it. It's like completely absurd.
Some people depend on this shit.
Some people do now, but I mean, do you know that if Discord never existed, that
some people depend on this shit? You'd be killing at least a couple hundred people in this community alone.
Why isn't he answering the question?
Okay.
Wait. Why Demi like let him move off of that? Like, look, it's a very simple question, and it's like, I don't think Trini could answer either. It's like, well, if I were to not make this decision, how do you know that these set of people who are reliant on this sudden fact, right, would even exist in the first place, right? Like, obviously, if this thing never existed, they'd be relying on something that doesn't exist, right? Which I don't even know how likely that would be. If his whole views, he wants to protect like sentient life in this, I assume it's this possible world, right? Like, obviously, he isn't wanting to protect sentient life, or he isn't actively going to base his actions around whether or not they protect sentient life in every single possible world, right? Specifically, I think he's indexing it to this one. So I don't understand the sort of argument he's making. This is really, really embarrassing. This is like maybe it's a marginally better performance than the what's it called? The noodles one. Because in the noodles one, he and noodles were both confused. Like, why did he define the more realism wrong 2 seconds into the conversation? But at least in this one, he's saying words, right? Like, and these words, they actually hold a little bit of meaning. But yeah.
You want proof?
Prove that if Discord never existed, these people would just die.
Okay, everyone in the chat, just keep typing. Everyone in the chat, just keep typing. Everyone in the chat, just keep typing, please. See?
See? These are
the people you'd be killing.
Huh? That doesn't answer Demi's question. Look, Demi's question specifically, and I'll rewind just to make sure I didn't get it wrong, right?
How did you prove that?
Okay, you want proof? You see this fucking community? Some people depend on this shit.
Some people do now, but I mean, do you know that if Discord never existed, that
some people depend on this shit? You'd be killed.
Yeah. Look, Demi asks him verbatim, how do you know if people were never, or if Discord was never made, people would depend on Discord? And he just shows that people currently depend on Discord, and it's like, cheers, mate. That's a complete non sequitur. You're actually addressing the argument, right? The argument is like, if this didn't happen, or if like this never existed, would people depend on it still, right? And he just shows that people currently do depend on it. It's like, you're not answering the question. This is dodging.
Yeah, at least a couple hundred people in this community alone.
How do you know? How did you prove that?
Okay, you want proof?
Oh.
Prove that if Discord never existed, these people would just die.
Okay, everyone in the chat, just keep typing. Everyone in the chat, just keep typing. Everyone in the chat, just keep typing, please. See?
See? These are
the people you'd be killing.
Why should I even care about their own word?
Okay, I'm saying this is the implication of your sister. This is the implication of your own sister. Your own implication.
You're saying it's the implication. Hold on. You're saying that's the implication, but I'm saying, like, why is that necessarily the case? You're just saying it is. You haven't given an action.
Wait, why is killing sentient life against the person protecting sentient life?
No. Okay. That's not what I asked. Why is it necessarily the implication that deleting Discord before it was ever created?
These people depend on it.
Okay, so why depend on it? So
how would they depend on something that never existed? What? Like, oh my god.
Why does that necessarily mean that the people who depend on it now, way after it's already been a thing, would just automatically die in that timeline?
But I'm saying that the time point doesn't matter. I'm just about protecting sentient life, not at some given point.
What? No. Okay, look, what is he talking about? He's like dodging the question. He's being a complete idiot here, and it's actually just getting really annoying. It's like, look, if specifically, like, Demi's argument here is just, well, what's it called? If these people were never born, right, or if this event never occurred, why would people rely on it, or how would people rely on it, right? Then the reason why he's saying that is because Trini is trying to argue that, well, if you did do this action, such as deleting Discord, all of these people who currently do rely on it would be affected, right? That has nothing, like, oh my god, like, it's such a non sequitur, you can't even phrase his argument in a way that's coherent. It's like, okay, yeah, surely, if you deleted the app now, and while people were already dependent on it, then yes, it would be wrong, right? But if you stopped anyone from ever being dependent on it at all, right, by deleting it before it was even made, right, or stopping it from being made in general, right, you wouldn't be harming anyone there, right? Like, you wouldn't be harming any person. So I don't understand the argument here, but
so you don't even know that me deleting Discord would do that. It could prevent wars.
I just proved it.
I told you. I asked you why their words should matter. You didn't give me anything.
Wait, so you don't think their words should matter? So you think everyone's wrong but you?
No, you never said that. I'm saying that they could know. I don't think that anyone could necessarily say what they would hear in a different timeline.
So you think you're just smarter than everyone?
No, that's not what I said. What are you on about? Like, are you just like...
Because you're like, oh, I don't care what everybody else says. I'm just smarter than everybody.
Why does their word matter in this case? Because then I said, I don't think that anyone could necessarily say, wait, let me finish. I said, because
yeah, dude, this is a waste of my time to keep listening to. Look, I'm just going to say this was a really bad performance from both parts. Demi could have toned down this argument way quicker. And I don't understand why he was wasting his time engaging with just the filibustering. But to conclude with, I'll be editing my tier list a little bit. Oh wait, no, I already have Demi above him. Well, Valor's going down because fuck you, Valor. Alright. Zizo's going down as well. Why would Zizo be above Lightning Jacks? Zizo's like Smithy's better than him. What else? Why is he so high? Yeah. Okay, now all is well. The tier list has been fixed, order has been restored. That's it. If you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please remember to share, and I'm out.